Well, folks, I've been meaning to do this for quite a long time, and now here we are in the living room in my domicile, in our domicile, and having two of my favorite shooting irons that came out of my shop, out of my man cave back. Well, this one right here, sometime around 2012, I made it a replica of a 1612 Matchlock musket. And I say Matchlock, and this is also a Matchlock, but I'm going to go in a little bit of detail about them. First, we'll begin with this one, the earlier one that I built. This one was made about 2 or 3 years later. The same kind of rifle, but a little, or I should say gun. They're both smooth bores. They don't have rifling in their barrels, because back in those days they had not yet developed rifling. But these are replicas of the kinds that were used in the time that the English came over, to develop colonies in America, and the Pilgrims, especially in 1621, Providence Plantation, that they used weapons like this, and also during that time in England, led by Oliver Cromwell, his army and his troops, and of course the opposing forces were using this in what was known as the English Civil War. Let me give you a little bit of an idea about how they operate. They're called Matchlock, and I didn't get a rope. I have the ropes that are used for firing this thing. And you see this hammer, or what is known as a serpentine. You loosen it up, and what happens is, in loosening it up, as you can see, loosening up the clamp, you place the rope in there and then retighten it. But you don't do that until you first of all load it, which is black. This is a black powder type weapon. Both of them are black powder. You pour in the powder, in this case about 125 to 130 grains of holy black, and that would be about anywhere from double F to single FG type grade powder or consistency. And then put in the ball, the lead ball, which in this case is a 70 caliber type, and you can see the bore, pretty good size. You wouldn't want to be hit by this thing. It could really do a number on whatever it hits. Well, anyway, and then after you place the ball in position, or the bullet, conical bullet, whichever one that the rifleman chose to use, and then he would, at a tilt, he would push the ball through it with his drumstick, making sure, of course, that while he did that, that the powder he poured in would stay in by making sure this powder pan guard was fully closed, so the powder wouldn't go out, and to keep it there until he was ready to fire. We'll get into that in just a moment. And then, after he is sure that he has gotten it fully seated, the bullet seated up against the powder, and you put in what is known as a wad cutter, which is probably a piece of rag or cloth or paper or whatever, and do the same thing. Make sure it's good and tight, because the tighter the pressure, the more powerful the explosion is going to be. The ignition is going to shove that ball out of the barrel into the desired target. Then he replaces his rap stick, which later was called, during the flip-flop development time, a ramrod. I'd like to call it a ramrod, but back in those days it was called the rap stick. And then, after he's got that done, you would check to be sure that the powder's sitting in the pan. You'd add a little bit to the pan there, as you can see the powder pan. And then he'd close it, keep it closed, and then he'd get his rope, his firing rope, which beforehand was dipped in liquid saltpeter or potassium nitrate to sit in there for a good 24 hours to make sure it's fully soaked. And then on the next day, take it out of the jar or the container, whatever you had it in, and would lay it out in the sun to let it sun dry. When it was fully dry, then he would test it by lighting it to make sure that it stayed lit, like the end of a cigarette or a cigar. You'd blow on it, make sure it stayed lit, place it into that clamp, tighten it, make sure it wasn't going to slip out, maybe out about an inch or so out from there, and then he would bring it down slowly to make sure that it was lining up right in the middle of the pan guard, the flash guard. And after he was satisfied that it was lined up, then he would open it, make it fire. That's how it was done. That's simple. It takes a lot of practice to use one of these things, but there was a lot of success with them, I think, back in the days when that's all they had. And I really enjoy the fun of shooting these. I haven't killed anything with it yet, but I do enjoy just using them for target shooting and just for the fun of enjoying making them. And they're very, very notable kinds of weapons. This, of course, as I said before, was my second one that I built back about 2 or 3 years later. The same principle. I added a shoulder harness for this one. Easier to carry around. They're heavy, so it's really nice to have a way to carry it on the shoulder.